Valorant has released a lot of skins over the years, and when you factor in all of the variants as well, there are so many options to choose from when it comes to customizing your collection. There are some skins you'll find that just look right in certain agents' hands, and in this video I wanted to go over every single agent in the game and pick out 2 skins that match them best. To make this a little simpler, I'll just be focusing on the premium skin lines with effects and upgrades, things like that, and I also won't be talking about any of the knives in this one, but I could do that in a separate video if there's enough demand for it. Either way though, again, I'll be covering all the agents in this video, so if you want to see what matches your main agent the best, make sure you stick around until the end. For Astra, it took me a while to settle on 2 skins, but I eventually decided that firstly, Ruination looks great on her, the hints of purple and gold, and then that main grey looking colour doesn't feel too out of place. The other skin that matches Astra even better is the purple Kuronami. Sometimes the gold in this skin doesn't quite match in the lighting, but then there are also times where it looks perfect. Also, I know I said only 2 skins, but I just have to quickly mention Singularity as well for Astra. Both the purple and gold variants match her pretty well, and of course she has the connection to the stars and space, which fits the skin line. Speaking of connection, we all find it frustrating when having high ping or packet loss issues in Valorant, especially if that results in you dying or losing your ranked games. If that's a problem you find yourself facing a lot, today's sponsor, Exit Lag, could be the solution for you. Exit Lag isn't just another gaming optimization tool. It aims to fix your server issues by providing dedicated routes, making sure you have a seamless and lag-free gaming experience. One of the latest features they've implemented is an AI route optimizer, which automatically finds the best routes available, giving you the fastest connection possible to over 2,000 game servers worldwide. Not only that, Exit Lag also routes data through up to 4 different paths simultaneously, ensuring your connection is as fast and secure as possible. There's a variety of different plans to choose from, ranging from how frequently you want to pay, and even a further discount if you get the duo or squad plan with your friends. If you want to try out Exit Lag for yourself, there's currently an offer of 50% off for the holiday season, so it is truly a better time than ever to download Exit Lag. You can do that by following the link in the description or pinned comment. Thanks again to Exit Lag for sponsoring this video. Up next is Breach, and I think the Doombringer Phantom looks really good on him. The grey perfectly goes with his bionic arms, and then the orange glow complements his abilities overall. Then the other skin I went for with Breach was actually Chronovoid. The blue is throwing me off a little bit, but I figured the other colours were a good enough match to leave this one in. Then we have Brimstone, and I'd say it's a pretty similar vibe to Breach overall, and that's evident with the skin choice, as I did go back to the orange Doombringer once again, as it still looks pretty good on him. And then for the second skin, I even went with Chronovoid again, but this time the black variant, as you can see the yellow highlights there, are sort of similar to what's happening with Brimstone's gloves. After that is Chamber, and I think Champions is a pretty obvious choice for him. Overall, the prestige and elegance is what he's all about. And then on top of that, the 2022 version in particular just matches Chamber a little bit better color-wise. Then the other skin I went with was actually Amendir. The skin isn't too popular overall, but the colors are what caught my eye here, and I do think it matches him really well. After that we have Clove, and the Overdrive Vandal matches all of the colors they've got going on in their kit really well, whether it's the metal or the smokes. Overdrive basically matches the same color palette. I also included the white Kuronami Vandal here because even though I wanted to avoid simply black and white skins where I could, at the end of the day, Clove's sleeve is like entirely white, and so this skin looks really good on them. That brings us to Cypher, and Chronovoid is actually a very solid match with him. The blue highlights are similar to his utility and whatnot. Then of course the brown and grey are 2 of his main other colors. Then I also went with Ion for Cypher, a similar thing going on here with the blue highlights, and then again, white just being prominent color on him. It just so happens that Deadlock is next alphabetically, and Ion on her might genuinely be one of the best matches in the game. Like, it looks like this skin is made out of the same material that her arm is, and of course blue is the same color as most of her utility, so this is a really good pick here. Then the other skin I went for Deadlock was the gold Singularity, as sometimes on her you'll find little hints of yellow like on the back of her arm, so overall this skin isn't too far off either. Fade is up next, and for her, Nocturnum, specifically the black variant, is a really good match. Not only does this just look right on Fade, she's a pretty scary character, and Nocturnum is the closest thing we have to a horror skin line in the game. Alternatively, you could also go for Black Reaver, with little bits of red match Fade's hand and overall utility as well. For Gecko, I couldn't find any amazing matches, although the purple Spectrum is up there. The secondary color on this one does change as you move, but overall when you get to green, that's a decent match. Then the other skin I chose for him is simply the green RGX, where the main green on it is almost identical to the one on his hand. Harbor was another one of the agents I struggled with, although I am sort of happy with this Chronovoid pick. The colors might not be perfect, but I do really like the way the ball in the middle sort of spins like the water does around his artifact. Then the other skin I chose for Harbor was RGX, which honestly is a bit rough, so if you guys have any other skins that match Harbor better than this, let me know. My first pick for ISO is a little bit of a wild card, but you have to admit the colors of the purple of Ori Dreamwings match him and his util pretty well, even if the overall vibe of this skin line could not be further from the hitman that he is. On the other hand though, I chose Singularity, which also matches him pretty well, so that's another skin you could look at if you play a lot of ISO. Next up is Jet, and her and Kuronami pretty much go hand in hand at this point, but I can't tell which variant I prefer. The white is overall cleaner and you definitely wouldn't go wrong with it. Meanwhile, the blue variant matches her hands just a little bit better. I was stuck on these two, but let me know which variant you prefer in the comments. Then the other skin I chose for Jet was simply the white Reaver, a pretty classic example there. KO didn't really have too many color matches throughout the skins, so firstly I went with Protocol, seeing as he is a robot it only makes sense. Then the other skin I went with was the black RGX. Unfortunately, none of the highlights on this one match that sort of cyan color on his hand, but this skin still works decently well on him. For Killjoy, I actually really liked how this variant of Blast X looks on her. There aren't too many skins in the game that are that yellow, and this one also comes with some blue as well. Otherwise, I do like the gold variant of Glitch Pop on Killjoy. I think some of the association here is that she released in the same patch as this skin line, so I sort of paired them together in my head, but this variant also just matches her colors decently well. For Neon, I skipped the obvious one and didn't end up going with Mage Punk, as even though there's lightning, I just don't think it matches her that well, so instead I went with the blue Doombringer, which still has the sort of charging up feel, and the grey just matches her hands better. I also included the gold Forsaken variant for Neon, maybe a little bit of a stretch there, but there is some gold on her hands, and of course the blue is there with all of her abilities. For Omen, the black variant of Nocturnum looks incredible on him, and this specific match is what made me want to make this video in the first place. Not only do the colors here match well, but also the overall theme and vibe is there. Then the second skin I put for Omen is just the base Reaver variant, and it's fitting these two go together so well because the Reaver skin line was actually originally going to be called Omen, then it had to be changed because the agent got priority. Then we've got Phoenix, and him and the base Primordium variant go pretty hand in hand for me. The neutral colors on the skin go with his sleeve, and then of course the burst of lava matches fire. Then it's a pretty similar sort of thing with Elder Flame, where the base color is just sort of okay and doesn't look bad with him, then you throw in some fire and you've got a Phoenix skin. For Raze, I'd say she matches the orange Doombringer pretty well. I keep coming back to the skin, and I think that's because you can never really go wrong with the main black or grey, then the highlight or glowing colors just match some of the agents really well, like in this case with Raze and the orange. Then I also went with the main Overdrive variant for Raze. A lot of the colors here line up, and it also sort of matches her whole mechanic theme with the gadgets and tinkering. Reyna is a pretty easy agent for this, purple is good on her, so I went with the purple variant of Araxis. Then I also included the Singularity Vandal as well, but really, any sort of purple skin like Kuronami as well would look fine on Reyna and match her pretty well. For Sage, I was having trouble initially, but I found that the white variant of Reaver actually looks really good on her, and then that pale green color sort of matches her abilities. It's a similar thing then with Imperium, where the main green color there matches the jade used in her wall. Next up is Sky, and she has a very obvious example with the green Guy's Vengeance variant. Not only do most of the colors line up here, but of course, her and the skin line are all about nature. Otherwise for Sky, the green Forsaken variant looks pretty good, as the darker green here matches her hands pretty well. Then we have Sova, and I'm once again going back to Doombringer, and this is probably one of the better matches. The black and grey are pretty seamless with his hands, then the blue highlights are like the same as his darts and ult, so yeah, very nice match here. Then the second skin I went with for Sova was Near Frontier. Not quite as good, but there is still plenty of blue and silver going on in both cases, so I'm happy with this one as well. Viper was a fairly easy one, just anything green will more or less go with her, and in fact I did just go with the green Forsaken again, just like Sky, as this is a pretty clean skin. Then my other pick for Viper was the green RGX, which looks especially good if you get the green highlight on the inside, and that also will match her contract gun buddy pretty well. Next up is Vice, and she was another tough one to match with. Firstly, I went with the pink Zero Fang variant, but this wasn't quite what I hoped it was going to be. The pink is a little bit too much. Then the other skin I chose was Prelude to Chaos. It's sort of heavy and goes with that metal theme, and also has hints of purple. Finally, that brings us to Yoru, and I feel like the blue Prelude to Chaos is a pretty classic example of a skin matching an agent well, as the hints of orange here complement him perfectly. Having said that, I'd say Overdrive is actually an even better match. It has the same color theme going on, but then is also sort of motorbike themed, which ties into Yoru's lore. So that was every single agent in the game, and 2 skins that match them pretty well. This is obviously sort of different to my usual content, but in terms of Valorant updates, the game is pretty dry right now, although we should be getting some stuff about a week into 2025. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this nonetheless. Let me know what skins you think I missed, and any other cosmetics you think match particular agents.